Asoka the Geek here with a very special guest today. All the way from India, we have the Bearded Kryptonian. Welcome, sir.
Hey, Asoka, what's up, my man? It's so
Good.
glad to be on your show.
So glad to meet you. Now, is it Shui Tang? Is that how you pronounce your name?
Actually, Shwetang.
Shratang. Okay, that's not too bad. Shratang. So this
Yeah,
must be the most ethnic action figure show I think ever. You got a Sri Lankan me, an Indian
yep.
you who's actually in India. So there you go, man. That's what I'm talking about, bro. The diversity that this hobby brings out, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now I'll try. Now, whenever I go to Sri Lanka, my cousins always tell me I talk really fast. So let me know if I talk too fast because I go super fast. It's funny because they speak better English than I do because they learn English, proper English from a very young age. I was like, do you also learn English from like a very young age in India?
Yeah, we actually start learning from it in schools. Yeah, we probably do. But most of it we learn in, through experience, basically.
Nice. All
Yeah.
right. Cool.
So I'm not really good at English myself, but I'm gonna try to go up with you.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, you sound great so far, my friend. You sound awesome. So, okay. So I'm gonna try to say your name a few times. Shatang.
Yeah.
Shatang. Okay. Now it's so cool, dude.
The first one is correct. Yeah.
Tom. Okay. So, Shatang, I really wanted to talk to you because I'm just so fascinated by, well, first of all, you're a fellow Superman fanatic like me. I wore this shirt just for you. So I know
Yeah.
how much you love
And so
Superman.
unfortunately I couldn't find a Superman T-shirt. It was basically in the laundry, so I had to go with a Green Lantern
That's all
T-shirt.
right, dude. We're still showing the DC love. It's all good.
But it's still the DC fandom, yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. And, the other reason is I'm just so fascinated by the collecting life abroad. We complain a lot stateside about collecting and trying to find stuff. I can't imagine what it's like for you guys, but we'll get into that. But what I want to ask you first is, can you take me a little bit through your collecting journey? Like, how old were you when you started collecting figures? What's your earliest memories of it?
So I guess I was like 4 or 5 years old when I got my first action figure. It was actually my birthday, and my father gifted me a Kenner Superman action figure. So
Yeah.
the old Kenner figures, if you remember, the quick change Superman, if you've heard of that figure, right? Right,
Oh,
you snap a Clark Kent outfit on a Superman. So that was my first action figure, and my father got it for me. So yeah, that was basically the point. I was fascinated by these things, and I've been in love with them since then.
wow.
Yeah.
So that was your
But
first introduction. And that was sounds like it was the Superman animated quick change one, I would think, right? Uh,
so that was the first animated series, and that was my first love for Superman itself. Tim Daly, and I love that show.
oh, that's
Basically. Yep.
awesome. Are your parents into this stuff at all? Are they collectors? Do they do that geeky stuff like the way you do?
Not particularly, but now that they've been seeing me collect these things in the past 2 years, so they're like pretty much okay. They're like, okay, let him do whatever he wants. We're not gonna stop him. He's just a kid. He's trying to live his childhood dream and stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah, they're pretty cool with it. I don't usually tell them the prices and stuff, but yeah,
Hey,
they're
you don't
pretty
want to
cool
do
with it.
that. I don't tell my wife the prices that often either. So
Yeah, that's
you're
big
better off.
no, bro.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're a child. You got your first quick change action figure. Like
Yeah.
from there, obviously when you're a kid, you get a lot of toys and things like that. Do you remember kind of like the transition from a youngster to an adult, and you're still collecting? Like, do you remember thinking about, man, I still like buying this stuff, or did you stop for a while and then start again, or what was that
So
like?
when I was actually growing up, I did not actually think I was going to take this up as a hobby itself. But then I became a part of the communities and stuff, and I started it again out of just my own consciousness. I was just randomly going through a toy store, and I found those figures, and that was major nostalgia for me. So back at it, I
Wow.
started again. I started small. I started with the Kenner figures again. So in India, we have Fun School. Fun School is a brand that has the license for DC that they have taken up from Kenner to distribute the same Kenner figures basically, but the same bug, but a little bit different paint apps, I guess, because of the licensing issues with DC. So yeah, so I collected that whole line, and I still have that somewhere there in my collection. I would show you that. So yeah, I started collecting those small figurines, and right after that, I got into this hobby, and I just got fascinated by the brands and the collectors and everything else. And then I started seeing your Instagram page, and it was a big inspiration for me.
Oh, nice. Well,
So I
thank
was,
you.
man, this dude has so many action figures, and they're so amazing. And back then, I did not even know about the brands and the designer series and nothing. I was totally an amateur. I still am actually. I started to get into statues right now. I'm trying to buy little bit statues. But yeah, it's been a
Oh, that's
wild
so.
journey.
So
Yep.
let me ask you this. I know when I go to Sri Lanka I go every couple of years, and I still to this day try to find a comic book store, trying to find a collectible store just to see what they have. I can never find anything. So Sri Lanka a lot smaller than India. So in India, do you have collectible stores, comic book stores, places to buy stuff from?
Actually, we do not have comic book stores per se. We do have a few, but they're in like big cities, not in my city. But yeah, we do not. We still have some stores that sell collectibles, and I usually shop my stuff online. And I've got a lot of friends who've got their own stores, who've got their own, setup where they import these figures and sell us to collectors. So yeah, that's the only thing we have. But we've only got a limited of 3,000, 4,000 collectors in India. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
pretty it's really tough to pursue this hobby here because the stuff is really expensive. You have to pay customs and import fees and shipping, and most of the stuff isn't even available here. So it's pretty tough.
Oh, wow.
But yeah,
So
we manage somehow.
man, that's
We
crazy.
manage
So
somehow.
you only have a few thousand collectors in India that you're aware of, and what's it like when like people from your family, friends, cousins, they find out about your hobby, they come into your room. What's their reaction like?
So, when my family members, my cousins, even my friends, when they come to my home, they see my collection, they're like, "Dude, are you crazy or what? How much money have you spent on these things?" And I'm like, "You guys won't understand it, you know." They're
Oh,
not
I
pa
get it.
understand the passion behind this hobby. They don't understand the, inner child that a man has. I still have an inner child in me
Yeah.
because of I collect these things, and it's all major nostalgia for me. And I've always been a comic book fan and animated series fan, so this makes me happy. It just
Oh,
makes me happy. I
that's
don't care what anybody says. Yeah.
absolutely. So speaking of that a little bit, do you read comics over there? Like, do you buy a lot of comics and things, or are you more into the shows and cartoons?
I'm into comic books. Yeah, yeah, I'm into
Okay.
comic books. I do buy and read them online, and I've got a comic book shelf right here. Yeah, I do. I do
Oh, that's
collect comics.
awesome, dude. So the other big part of your life, and we'll go all over the place here, is obviously I see your guitar in the background there. I know you're really
Yeah.
into music, which is so cool. But you're so cool, dude. You're like a collector who's a musician. You know what I mean? So that's awesome.
Yes.
What's your passion for music like? Have you always been into music as well?
Uh, yeah, I guess I've been into music since I was actually a child. I started with the, piano, the keyboard, and I started out with piano. Then I went to guitars and back and through. So yeah, I've been playing a lot of instruments, and yeah, music has been my passion since a long, long time. And I think it's in my genetics. My father also sings, my brother also sings, my cousin brother also. He has a band. He's a musician. He just released his album. So yeah, we've got it pretty much in our genetics.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. Can you play like the Superman theme song on your guitar or anything like that, or any of the superhero stuff?
I haven't actually tried that ever. I
Uh,
haven't actually tried the superhero stuff because mostly what I do is with my band I play gigs in places, pubs and bars and cafes and stuff like that. Some concerts maybe open mics. So that kind of genre and those things, no, they're not accepted here. People don't are not acquainted with these things here.
it just shows
That,
how ignorant I am because I remember when I first started visiting your page and I saw all your music stuff, like you at a pub. I thought you lived here because it looked like the way you dressed,
yeah,
the pubs you were in, it totally looked like something in America. I took me
yeah.
a second. Wait, he's in India? They have this stuff in India? I just never think of like that over there. Is that pretty common? Like the open mics in India, like in the music you play over
Yeah,
there?
it's growing actually. Yeah, yeah, it has become pretty common nowadays. Yeah. So the music scene and everything else, it's growing every day, and I'm pretty glad it's developing because that's what we need right now
Gotcha.
as musicians as well. Yep.
Absolutely. Is that something you want to do as a career, the music, or is it just a hobby for you, or?
It's right now it's just a hobby for me, but maybe if I get a shot at something big, why not?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well,
Yeah.
circling back to your action figures. So I'm looking behind you. I see the DC. I see some Marvel, and I see some Dragon Ball. So
Yeah,
talk to me about what you're collecting now, or like what are your different collecting lines?
When I started off, I just began with the cinematic universe. I started with the multiverse line, if you remember. The when Justice League came out, that was basically the time when I started collecting my figurines, and I was new to all these things. I did not even know what DC Direct. I did not, I couldn't comprehend the difference between brands and stuff. Then I started researching and I started learning slowly, and it's only been 2 years since I started collecting. But yes. Uh, then I got into the comic book figurines, then designer series, and then right now I'm like, searching for old DC Directs where I can find them, scouring eBay or finding them with the friends in my community. And I did collect a little bit of Marvel. I've got a shelf right here. It's like hardly 10, 20 figures, not much, but 90% of my figures are DC Direct, yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
recently, it's been only 2 months I started collecting Dragon Ball as well because I've been a big time Dragon Ball fan since I
Yeah.
was a kid. Yeah. So
N-
uh, here's a
You have a
Dragon
great
Ball.
collection. Yeah, look at that, dude. Are Dragon Ball figures easier to find than DC and like Marvel, or?
Actually, they are. Some of the Dragon Ball figures are really easy to find here, and they're not even that expensive for being so good looking. Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're really good. I'm pretty happy with collecting these figures. I think I'm gonna continue collecting these figures. So I'm collecting Banpresto right now. If you've heard of the brand, Banpresto is a good brand. They make non-articulated
Oh,
statue-like
okay.
figurines, but they're not basically resin or
Oh,
polystone.
okay.
They're PVC, but they're really good quality. So
And I've seen your Diamond Select PVC statues. So
yeah, yeah. I started off my statue collection with those only.
what do you think about those statues? What got you into those statues?
I think those statues are value for money because you've got the sculpt, you got the paint apps, you've got the size, and you've got the price.
Yeah,
They're not expensive, they're inexpensive. They're basically, what everybody wants.
I
If you're a
agree.
collector,
Yeah,
if you're a collector, yeah,
and
that's
another
what
thing
you
is
want.
they don't break either because I'm very clumsy.
They
Even
don't
my
break the best part, yeah.
yeah,
So
like I'm sorry. Go ahead.
when I ordered the Wonder Woman and it came through shipping, the box was like crumpled, and I was like, dude, I hope the statue is not
Yeah,
messed up. But the statue was just fine, just the box was damaged. So I'm pretty glad about it.
absolutely. Yeah, like my DC Direct statues, I've chipped like two of them. Like Wonder Woman right now is falling over because her leg broke because I knocked it over. But not the diamond
Okay.
ones. Diamond ones are fine because they're plastic, so they can
I
take a beating.
I see that Kingdom Come statue right there. It's amazing, and
Oh,
it's freaking
dude, I
amazing.
got that last year. I mean, or actually not last year. It was this year, the beginning of COVID. When COVID started, I went on a little shopping spree. I don't know. I was just like, you're at home a lot. You're in front of your computer. I have eBay. I was
Yeah,
just, I'm just gonna. And so I finally picked that. I love that thing, man. That's a great statue. So what
it's
what are some
amazing.
what are you,
Majestic.
I was gonna say what's some of your holy grails? What are your like some of your DC figures that are really at the top of your list right now?
Right now, the only Holy Grail that I have in my collection right now is my Christopher Reeve hot toy.
Oh wow, so that's the one you
It's
want. Yeah,
beauty. Yeah,
man.
it's a thing of beauty.
I know
I got
he's
pretty lucky. I got both Cavill and Reeve. I got both of them, so I'm like pretty happy about it. I'm planning to buy a few more hot toys maybe in the future because
yeah.
I think they're amazing. They're
Oh,
overpriced, but they're amazing. They look
yeah,
good.
ouch. No kidding. And Chang, you're younger, obviously. It sounds like you're maybe late 20s, early 30s. So is
I,
Christopher Reeve, yes. So I'm surprised Christopher Reeve is so important to you. I would think you were more of a Cavill fan.
I am more of a Cavill fan, but back then I was a child. I started watching Christopher Reeve movies, and I watched all of those movies, and I was like, man, this guy, he is Superman. He was
Nice.
actually made for this role. So yeah.
What about Michael Keaton as Batman? Is he your Batman, or are you more of a Christian Bale fan?
Uh, See, I'll be honest here. The first live action Batman movie that I saw was Joel Schumacher's Batman Forever.
Yeah.
So I was pretty happy with Val Kilmer as Batman. I think he's a very handsome guy to become
Yeah.
Batman,
Oh
and
yeah.
a very Bruce Wayne as well. Though those movies were very, non-Batmanish kind of movies,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think those were good movies.
Have you?
I enjoyed those. I did not enjoy Batman and Robin, but I enjoyed Batman Forever, and I started off seeing Val Kilmer as my Batman. But later on, I saw Batman 1989 and 1991, and I was like, okay, these are good movies as well. Pretty dark, but they're good.
Oh, no kidding. And I mean, I love Batman Forever. It's a great movie. It's a little cheesy. It was sort of that kind of transitioning from serious to cheesy, but I think it's great. Have you seen the Hot Toys Batman Forever
I
figure?
did. I did. They've released the Robin figure and Val Kilmer figure, right? Right. They've released the promo images. I don't know when they're coming out. Are they gonna
Yeah,
come out?
me neither. And like my rule with Hot Toys has been I only buy Superman because that way it
Yeah.
keeps me like, okay, I can't afford these other ones, but I
Yeah.
have to buy those. You know what I
That
mean?
Justice League one is awesome. I'm seeing that right here. So it
Uh,
took most of the collectors. It took like 2 years for them to get this figure, right?
yeah.
The
Oh yeah, it took
Justice League.
forever. Oh yeah, I didn't think it'd ever come out. The So you would think. So I guess even getting stuff from Japan, from China, is still hard in India, even though you're technically closer to those countries, huh? It,
I think it's not as hard as getting stuff from US. I think because stuff if you order from US, it mostly takes around 1 month, maybe more than that. But if you order stuff from Japan or Hong Kong, it arrives in usually 15 to 20 days. Yeah, yeah. So I haven't ordered much stuff from there. I only have like Revoltech Batman and Deathstroke and stuff like that. Only these figures. But yeah,
nice. You
it's
brought up
not that hard.
you brought up something earlier that's interesting to me that I never think about.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out DC Direct, Mattel, Mayfex. Like for me, I'm old and I've been doing this for so long that I just know this stuff by heart. And I wish I knew more important things. But as a new collector for you, did it take a while to figure out all these different lines and who was who and all that?
I don't think it actually took a lot of time for me. I just started researching. I just saw your post and I started researching those figures because the good thing about your posts were you mentioned which series, which line, which
Yeah.
era, anything else, yeah, which brand. So it was interesting and yeah,
Okay.
it wasn't that hard.
That's good
Wasn't
to
that hard.
know. And from the
Yeah.
DC lines between DC Direct, Mattel, and now and actually McFarlane, what do you think about McFarlane? Have you got any McFarlane toys in yet, or what are your thoughts?
Uh, I, I do have two figures that are coming in. Both are Superman, the animated one and the classic one, but I do not have them in my hand yet. I'm yet to receive them, but I think McFarlane is doing an amazing job. The
Nice.
DC license is in safe hands. That's what I
That's,
feel
no, I
when I think
agree.
about
Yeah.
McFarlane.
Yeah.
Because Todd is doing such an amazing work. He's releasing so many figures that we were expecting. So it's really good. And
That's good.
and the and the fact that they're like $20, $25 makes them even a cherry on top.
Right? I mean, exactly. When you hear some of the complaints about the figures, when
Yeah,
they compare them to
yeah,
Maplex and stuff, you're like, well, it's a $20 figure and it's amazing.
exactly. This is like $100, and I'm pretty uncomfortable paying $100 for a 112 scale figure. Honestly, I'd
Uh,
rather buy four McFarlanes instead.
well, give it about 2
But
years and we'll see if
I'm
you still think that.
20,000.
Dude, I used to be the same way. I would never spend more than $50 on a figure, or unless it's a rare figure. But now, like all the Beast Kingdom ones are pretty pricey, and
Yeah.
it's like so it's funny where
Good.
you end up going.
I've also got a Beast Kingdom coming in, I guess, next week. I bought the Battle Damage Batman.
Oh, nice, dude. Oh,
Yeah, it's a good
that was a great figure. I can't wait to see your pictures of it.
sure thing. I'm still waiting for it to arrive. My friend has it right now, and he's gonna ship it later this week.
Nice. Now, so you were collecting action figures, did you collect action figures and then you found Instagram and the community, or did you like? I'm curious, like, were you collecting action figures, then you went online and found Instagram and all these other collectors around the world, or did that influence you to get back into collecting?
So what happened actually was I started collecting slowly, like with the Kenner figures, as I told you, and then I started posting them online on Instagram,
Yeah.
and I started using hashtags and everything else. And then I found out people use these hashtags, and
Yeah.
people are still doing this, and there are other folks like me, which made me really, really happy. And after a while, I found out through some friends of mine that we in India have got a community itself, three, four communities where we have got collectors. So I made friends with them, and
Nice.
it's been a journey.
That's great. And
And I'm pretty glad it
yeah,
happened.
like
Yeah.
you invited me to your Facebook group a few months ago, and I don't post much because
Yeah.
I'm lazy. But that's a great group that you had there. Did you start that group, Shatong, or did you
No, no,
join
did
that?
not. No, I did not start that group. I joined it, and it was few of my friends, my very good friends. So they're actually the admins of the group and the founders as well. The Collector Life is the name of the group, and we've also got an Instagram page as well. So yeah, if you can follow that page, that would be awesome. Give a
Oh
shout
yeah,
out
for
to
sure.
guys
You
as well.
got.
They've been
That's,
like brothers to me. They've helped me with my collection since the very beginning. So
yeah.
yeah, pretty
That,
thankful for.
that's great. You guys are doing that because I know, like culturally, even in Sri Lanka and stuff, like
Yeah,
collecting this is very foreign to people. Like
yeah,
my family, they know. Of course,
yeah,
I've been doing it for 20 years now, so no, everyone knows what I do. But like people in my culture just do not get it. They feel like you're saving your
yeah.
money. It's like our cultures are. It's very sort of save your money, save your money, save your money. That's what you should do. But
I
yeah,
understand. I understand. I'm like 24, and everybody is like, "You're wasting your money. You should start saving now. You gotta get married. You gotta do this. You gotta do that." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll do that in time. Everything has a time. Let me do what I want right now. Come on."
exactly. And speaking of
Yeah,
that, I know you have a girlfriend, your lovely girlfriend. I've seen posts of.
yeah.
How does she feel about your collecting? Does she know about it before you started, or was she a part of it when you guys got together?
She's been a part of it from the very beginning, yeah, and she's kind of okay with it. She has accepted the fact that he's gonna be a kid his whole life and he's gonna do this. So
Yeah.
she's even if it's like my birthday or if it's some special day, she knows what she has to give me.
Oh, there you go. That's nice, dude.
That
Yeah,
one's like one statue that I was talking to you about. So she gave it to me on my birthday. So that's a pretty amazing
that's
thing.
awesome, dude. Oh, look at that. I mean, that's a great thing about my wife. She's not into it, but she supports it, and
See, that's what we need. That's exactly what we need. We don't want you to, be as indulged as we are, but just support us with this hobby. That's all.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's great, man. So what are you excited about coming up this year? Like you've seen pictures of McFarlane toys. I mean,
Yeah.
unfortunately about DC Direct, we still have some stuff coming out. Like, what's the most exciting thing that you've seen new that you would like to get into your collection?
The latest Dark Knight's Metal Wave that's coming out, I'm pretty excited about it. The, Devastator and that figure is freaking amazing. And the entire line, I think Superman and Batman as well, they're coming out as well. And the two pack with Nightwing and Red Hood, I'm pretty excited for those. They're pretty great figures, man. I'm
Absolutely.
gonna Yeah, I've already pre-ordered the Dark Knight's Metal Wave. That's going to be here like in November or December. It's going to reach me by that
Nice.
time. Yeah.
The so obviously we got some really sad news the other day with DC Direct shutting
Yeah.
down. Like how do you feel about it? Like what was your reaction to that
I
news?
I feel awful, man. I feel awful. It's like I love DC Direct. I love their sculpts and I love the choice of figures that they've released over the years. And it's been 22 years since they've been working, and such an amazing brand. It's pretty sad what happened.
I know. I had your reaction. Very emotional, very sad. Like I've never been this emotional about a toy company or any company closing down. And yeah, dude, it's really sad. But
I was that sad when Mattel lost the license for Multiverse. I was like, okay, they haven't been doing a pretty good job with that license recently. But DC Direct, their own in-house company, I'm pretty shocked. Yeah.
yeah, and I think with Mattel, I mean, even though they lost the license, and I think they had some really good stuff near the end there.
I know.
And I'm still yeah, but you're right. But at least they didn't shut down, and the employees, you know what I mean, are still there. So well, I know a few people
So
did get laid
I
off. So that was sad, but
really good job with the Motu figures.
Yeah,
Mattel is doing a good job with the Motu figures that they're releasing, and they're actually cheaper than usual.
exactly. I'm trying not to get sucked into those Motu figures. I loved
I
He-Man as a
do
kid.
remember you the movie figurines of that,
I do.
but they're
You
Super 7 figures, yeah, Super 7 figures, yeah.
Yeah, I've stopped at those. I'm like, I don't. Because what happens with me, Shitong, is like whenever I buy another line, like Marvel, or I buy like I bought a Back to the Future DeLorean, like I'll enjoy
Yeah.
it for a few months, and then I end up putting it in a box and putting it in the garage. You know, it just if it's not my core collection, I just lose interest eventually.
That's the thing. That's the thing. You get into too many lines and then, you just lose a track of it. That's what happened with me. I started with Marvel and I did collect some comic book figures like the Alex Ross figures that Marvel released, Captain America, Iron Man, and the Thor and the, Incredible Hulk. They were good figures, which is why I collected them. But now I'm like, okay, I'm done.
And Marvel, like, they're great figures, and it's just too many. I mean, I'm so jealous of the Marvel fans, the amount of figures they get.
Yes,
It's crazy.
true. And in India as well. So Marvel Legends is one of the most selling brands in India, and we've got the most Marvel Legends collector here. Less of the DC collectors, more of the Marvel Legends collectors here, because it's easily available. What can they do? So they're
Uh,
good figures, cheap, and they've got articulation, they've got decent paint and sculpting. Yeah, that's okay. So they're doing pretty good with Marvel Legends here, but not with DC, either Essentials or Mattel or nothing else. Yeah.
we're always the underdog, the DC fans, for some reason. You know what I mean? In
Yeah.
every way, it's crazy. Now, one thing I
Crazy.
might buy is that Marvel Legends Sentinel. I think
Oh
actually, I think it
God.
ends next week, but it's so much money, man. It's
So expensive. I would rather, go for a Prime One statue instead. It's just
uh,
my
that's a good point, actually. Yeah, I didn't think
yeah, yeah,
about that. Jeez, but I've always
you,
wanted a Sentinel. You know.
yeah.
But you're right. I thought anything about that. I mean, or I could spend that money on the older DC Direct figures that I'm missing. You know.
That you get. I'm just suggesting. I'm not, I'm not judging, but I'm
Oh, no,
just
of
suggesting.
course.
If I'm gonna be spending that kind of money, I would rather go for, something more pristine, more bigger, and not an action figure, or maybe
Yeah,
Hot Toys, the
that's
ones
true.
that I've always wanted. Yeah, yeah.
I know
But
there's so many hot
spend
toys I missed out on too. So man. Well, listen. I think that's good for now. I don't want to keep you up. I know it's late for you, and I want to let you go.
fine. Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand. Yeah.
We'll continue again sometime. But here, thanks so much for
Awesome.
joining me, Shotang. I'm gonna click
It was
stop.
awesome talking to you, man. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Shotang. Let me go ahead and just click stop and